This is Rashawn Slater, first round draft pick for the LA Chargers, and you're listening to the Charged Up Bolts podcast. Bolt up.
Hello, folks, and welcome back to another edition of the Charged Up Bolts podcast. I'm your host, John Was Jr. On this show, we're going to be talking about the end of the Chargers season, or are we? It's alive. To get into this and a lot more, I'm joined by Dan King. How's it going, buddy?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Was just cold, always cold.
It is cold. We've actually got a polar bear in my back garden crying. It's that cold.
It is.
We're in the right hemisphere anyway. Say again.
Yeah, it's about -4 at the moment. So
yeah, we went to work the other morning. I've been feeling ill all week. Scratchy cough, sneezing. If I break into a sneezing fit, anybody, I apologise in advance. It was -6.5. But I know where you are. You haven't got any snow, but further in our beautiful county of Essex, there's still 6 to 7 inches of hard packed snow on the verges and the streets that have not been cleared.
Yeah, we've had no snow, but plenty of ice. Our car park is an ice rink. For those in Fahrenheit, -4 is 25 Fahrenheit. So that's kind of where we're at. We're in the 20s comfortably.
And this is the thing,
just cold.
Let's talk about the weather, because this is quite.
We're British. We have to.
We have to. In Canada, in the States, in places like the French Alps, Germany, Switzerland, everybody adapts. They've got their snow shovels. They've got their implements to clean the snow off the car. Mm-hmm. They've got blankets. They've got perishable goods in the trunk of their vehicle. What did I see the other day? Driving into work, people without the lights on. People with snow stacked on top of the cars. I was thinking, what a bunch of morons. There's just a complete lack of common sense in Britain across the board. And as soon as it starts snowing, everybody starts to lose their minds and does exactly what they shouldn't be doing. Colleague of mine said the other day he was driving to a local supermarket. A lady braked, all the snow off the roof, slid forward all over her windscreen. She couldn't clear it. And nobody gave her a hand because it's her own fault. Even with the sleeve of your jacket, you can clear most of the snow off the car. I mean, it's just ridiculous, Dan.
Yeah, and it's wild. Like de-icer has been sold out in Colchester all week. Nowhere, can't get it.
Well, but, do you know what I use?
Elbow grease.
Elbow grease is a good one, and a trusty old credit card. You'll be surprised how effective. I don't use de-icer. One, it's not good for the environment. Two, this is much more effective.
I stick with the old scraper and
the old scraper.
Me one side, the wife the other side. Just.
And I was listening to a colleague at work the other day saying, "Oh, we pour hot water on the windscreen. Do not do that. Not unless you
will break the glass.
The insurance for a new exactly. Well, it's good if you're a windscreen provider. Yes, please put hot water on your windscreen and we'll come and replace it. But you look at the NFL right now. It's that time of the year where the snow's falling certainly in the northern parts of the states. And I'm pretty sure the people of up in New York State, are not having the same sort of issues or seeing the same sort of issues.
Go to any game at Lambeau, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Anyway. I do love watching snow games, though. It's always such an interesting thing to watch because obviously, like, sport here kind of just stops when it snows. So to see some of those snow games in Buffalo or Green Bay or Minnesota, it's always good to see, and just ends up being such a defensive slog of who can actually keep hold of the ball because it's cold.
And of course, when we're talking about snow and football, we have got the greatest snow game ever, the Freezer Bowl.
Yeah, the Freezer Bowl.
San Diego
after that Miami game, to then go into Cincinnati and just freeze.
Yeah. Chargers lost 27-7. Shut out for basically 3 quarters. Was it minus
something?
Yeah, it was minus a lot. There you go. Minus 59 Fahrenheit. I've just Googled there.
Oof. Yeah, that's not fun. That's not fun.
And it was.
I've only watched that game once. I've watched the game before it quite a few times, but I've only watched that game once.
Yeah, I mean, the Chargers have some real stars on their team. Kellen
Winslow.
Charlie
Because the game
down
before
fights.
was Kellen Winslow being helped off the field. That iconic shot of him being helped off the field.
Yeah. I mean, this is the amazing thing about the NFL. I often talk about resilience, grit and determination in the National Hockey League. They're skating 1 minute in Washington, and then the next day they're heading down to Jacksonville to skate there. Where you're on the ice. Generally, most of the arenas are of a similar temperature, but there we are in the NFL. 1 minute you're playing plus 31 degrees. 80 odd in old money in Miami, and the next thing you're literally playing with the polar bears and the Eskimos. It's absolutely crazy. But the sport rolls on, Dan. The Chargers are alive. Tua who?
Yeah.
Who?
No idea. What? 10 of 28. There we go.
10 of 28, 144 yards and a touchdown. Chargers roll the Dolphins 23-17.
God, what a game.
Many thought that we wouldn't come away with this victory.
All of us.
All of us. I mean, we did our damage in the second quarter, 17 points.
Yeah, we then, again, didn't do anything in the third quarter. We did score 3 points in the third quarter, which brings us to, it brings us to a staggering 12 points in the last 10 weeks or something. But
I think the big news for me, Dan, is we had Mike Dubb and Keenan Allen on the field. Justin Herbert, 39 of 51, 367 yards and a touchdown, a rating of 102.3. And I tell you what, all that despite giving up 4 sacks. But there was trusty old Mike, 6 receptions, 116 yards.
On 6 targets as well. He caught everything.
Yeah.
Including that first one on the sideline where he just kind of body control shifts round the corner. What a catch that was. But that guy is nothing but highlight catches.
Correct. And Keenan, 12 receptions, 92 yards. So despite, again, the lack of a running game, Austin Eckler did his best, but he still ends up with another 100 yards net. He's been an absolute baller this season.
Mm-hmm.
But we spoke in the previous show about bragging rights to Justin being drafted in the same draft class.
Oh yeah, they were a different class in that game. It was worlds apart watching those two, and the commentators were fully on board with that, which is great as well. Showing Justin Herbert turned up, played lights out. Tua turned up, and that was about it.
Yeah.
Now Tua has been playing great this season, but he's on a bit of a down at the moment. But I have no doubt that he will be a long-time great in this league. But it's nice to know that we had a primetime game that Herbert turned up in and played well in, because he seems to always do that, and that's always nice.
Yeah, agreed. And it was nice to see as well Kyle Van Noy registering a sack. Obviously,
and quite a nice one as well. It was a nice, easy spin that he just kind of threw the shoulder, spun round, got the sack. It was just like, well, that was easy. Why haven't you been doing that for a while?
Well, this is interesting.
The Dolphins have an okay O-line. Just kind of get past that.
And this is the thing. We're celebrating here Mike Dubb and Keenan Allen playing a full game. Giveth with one hand, taketh with the other, because, again, still no Joey Bosa, no Derwin James. So both sets of
I'd kind of been out of touch for a few days. And so to turn on the game, I recorded it and I watched it the next morning because screw time zones. Turned it on and I was like, there's no Derwin. That's Alohi Gilman. What? So that was a bit of a shock. But hey, we made it through. We got through without Derwin, without Joey. And yeah, Derwin's still listed as doubtful for this week.
Yeah, we'll
and
come
it's
on to
unlike,
in a minute, but again, another one of our key superstars that are not able to.
A massive leader in that team.
I mean, apart from, I think, touch wood, Austin Eckler is the only stud on this entire roster that's been able to fulfill an entire campaign.
Oh, yeah.
which means they'll probably get injured on this weekend. Now I've said that, but I think the important thing was, we were having a bit of a light-hearted touch with obviously self and John about the end of the season, mourning another season gone by, but we're still alive. If you look at the NFL playoff picture as it is, and for those of you watching on StreamYard, we've got a bit of a banner so you can follow along. But ultimately, Bills at number 1, Chiefs at 2, Ravens at 3, Titans this week's opponents at 4. They had the AFC South with the 7-6 record, similar to ours. Bengals at 5, Dolphins at 6, Patriots at 7th, despite being third in the AFC East, and then Chargers at 7-6 on the bubble at number 8.
It'd be us and what the Jets. Jets are also 7-6.
They are. They're 9th.
Yeah.
Now, Jacksonville beat Titans last week, which keeps everything nice and tight. The Raiders went on that incredible run of kept winning games, but they stubbed their toe last weekend. So
what a shame.
Exactly. What a shame. But it just goes to show you that how every game is important, especially at this time of the season. But this is a team that, as in the LA Chargers, that doesn't seem to be lying down and giving up right now. And that's all we can ask for. It is literally as we have come to expect over recent seasons, this is now a situation where it is a playoff game every time we step over that white line come kickoff. Justin Herbert, for me, is still the best chance of us winning a game. And there's been a lot of talk on the internet forums and the major internet websites of talking about Justin's regression in the second half. There's lots of different reasons for that. The fact that our O-line's pretty banged up, the fact that we've not had a sustainable receiver core, etc. The fact that he's still recovering from the injury, he'd probably not be 100% fit. There are many metrics. DVOA only gives you part of that story. But whilever Herbert's got the football in his hands, whilever he's got Mike Williams and Keenan Allen downfield, and whilever Austin Eckler is on the field, you could probably put you and I in at right and left guard, and he could probably still make some plays and move the chains.
Yeah, which does make it hard to kind of judge how Zion's doing.
Yeah,
because it's like he's not noticeably great or bad at all. He's just there, and he's always there. And you got to think, is his true potential being reached without the other players being around him, or are we seeing the best of him? Don't really know. But just to jump back a couple of minutes, you mentioned studs that have been there every game. And we've got to touch on Drew Tranquill has played every game.
Ooh, yes.
There's another one there. Can't discount. He's now, it was week 4, week 3. He took over the defensive. He got the green dot. He is the kind of leader there on defense. And I think at that point, that's when he kind of started ramping up in his performance. And I was saying to my wife the other day, part of me wants another jersey. I know I can't afford another jersey. But I'd go, I've got Bosa, I've got James, I've got Herbert, I've got Allen. Would I go Eckler? Would I go Tranquill? I don't know. But there's a couple of guys there who have really shown up this year and done what is expected of them.
Yeah, I think you're right. And Drew, on my part, bad form. Drew's been absolutely outstanding this season, and he deserves all the credit you can get. And I think that a Tranquill jersey wouldn't be a bad shout. Oddly enough, I was going through my locker earlier on what we're going to wear today. I thought, do you know what? Let's have a bit of Phil Sember.
I thought about putting on a Rivers jersey today, but I've gone with the navy Bosa.
I've got the sort of performance vapor jersey, whatever they call it. It's really good material. It's my favourite Chargers jersey. Phil Rivers. I don't know why I was sat the other day waiting for White to finish work, just parked up there, just in my own thoughts, and just caught myself thinking about Philip Rivers and whether or not we'd ever see him back in the Chargers building some sort of a coaching or ambassador role. So that was a primer for wearing today's shirt. But Going back to Zion Johnson.
I'll put on a Rivers jersey tomorrow for the game.
Happy days. Well, going back to Zion Johnson, I mean, the last 2 games he's given up a pressure. His last sack was against Kansas City Chiefs, and he's only given up 3 sacks this season. So I think he has been up and down. When you look at his PFF gradings on pass block, it runs anything from 23.7 against the Chiefs in week 11 to a season high against the Raiders, 77 last time. Well, in week 13, last time out against Miami, he didn't perform as good, but he still only gave up 1 pressure. So I think what we're seeing from Zion Johnson in what we can only describe as a very makeshift offensive line is a player with lots of ability and lots of self-belief. And I think one thing that we can be guaranteed is going forward, certainly in year 3, I would argue we're going to see an absolute lights out offensive lineman.
Yeah,
I would argue,
a couple of years with the O-line.
It does.
Apart from the rare cases like Rashawn Slater.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I would argue that Zion Johnson can be as good, if not better, than Fila out there at left guard. But for a rookie to come in and play alongside Will Clapp and Corey Linsley and keep trying to adjust every other week, he's got a different buddy at right tackle. So I think we have to give him a bit of kudos, a bit of a pat on the back.
Mm-hmm.
And when he's giving up 5 pressures against Denver in week 6, it's like, well, okay, you have to take the rough with the smooth. And again, look at the entire picture and trying to work out what's going on, as opposed to saying, oh, his mechanics are wrong or he's not reading the game correctly. I think, was it the Jaguars game? I might be wrong. When Will Clapp was in and he kind of turned his back and the running back squeezed into the A gap and Zion found himself in no man's land. Now, that's not really his fault. He's obviously looking at the area of the field that he's responsible for. But when your center is getting themselves into position when they're not doing their job, well, then the right guard's duties are almost impossible to fulfill.
Yeah. And especially he's had so much volatility around him with Corey Linsley going down and Will Clapp coming in a few times, with the right tackle slot being kind of up in the air with Pipkins being injured. It's been an interesting rookie season for sure.
Yeah,
but I think we had another rookie step in this week and make a few plays, and Jasir Taylor stepped up because Bryce Callahan was also missing.
Yes, which is a shame.
Jasir Taylor got targeted pretty early on and showed up, did what was needed. I mean, there was a lot of talk about Taylor in the preseason during training camp, so it was cool to see him get a game. I'm not sure that I want him getting many games at the moment, but it's one to keep an eye on for the future. I mean, you'd want Mike Davis out there and Asante Samuel at the moment. Asante's not having the best few weeks, I guess, but Mike Davis showed up, did pretty good stuff. He's had a good couple of games.
Mike Davis is probably playing the best football of his career, to be honest. But this is
which is good to see, because I mean, he kind of got written off as we've got JC Jackson now. We don't need Mike Davis, but go back a couple of years, Mike Davis was pretty decent. Back when we had Chris Harris, Mike Davis was the better corner. Back when we had Casey Hayward, at the end of Casey's time with us, it was like, well, Mike Davis was pretty good.
I mean, he's been excellent in coverage the last 2 weeks, Mike Davis. But this is another point. We've got another player now on the back of Drew Tranquill. We've now got Mike Davis stepping up. Giveth in one hand, taketh in the other, because we're not able to put all the pieces on the field at the same time. JC Jackson, he's done for the season. Joey Bosa could be done for the season. We've had spells without Khalil Mack. It's almost like it's trying to make. It's like for anyone that's new to the sport, what I'm trying to say to you is trying to create the ultimate meat feast pizza, but you've only got bacon to put on your pizza. You know, the potential there, the
That
reality
bacon is there. It is there the whole time.
The bacon's there, but there's no pepperoni, there's no spicy sausage, there's no spicy chicken, there's no beef. You get the picture.
Well, there's like one bit of beef.
Yeah, yeah. Or there's one, or we'll try and substitute somewhere else. Oh, well, I'll tell you what, we'll get some corn on there. No, please stop doing that. And it's just typical Chargers, you know.
Yeah.
If it's not one person, it's another. And I think we're just going to have to roll with this now until we can reset.
Yeah, but at least I think we're in a better position than we have been when it comes to depth in previous years, because there's guys there that you have some faith in. Like Alohi Gilman came in, did well. He played a couple of games last year and did well. I think he did well against Kansas City last year. I think that was last year. It's been a long season. And then you had like Morgan Fox has been playing fairly decently. You've got Fajoko's getting some game time. Joe Gaziano's getting some game time. And it's like, I don't hate that these guys are in there. Chris Rumpf, he still exists. But none of these guys are like, I mean, you go back, 10 years and you're like, oh, yeah, we'll just throw Larry English in there. That'll go fine. And it never went fine. But I'd say last year compared to this year, we've got better depth. Or at least the players that are in that lower kind of tier have kind of stepped up a bit more. But then they've had to, because the upper tier has just gone.
Yeah, and I think it's led to look, we've got a 7-6 record. We look average, and I like to use DVOA as a metric, and I like to look at the PFF stats as a metric. I like to look at the box score as a metric. You've got to put it all together to get the bigger picture. But when you look across the board at the PFF stats, our elite players of Herbert, Eckler, Allen, Mike Dubb on offense, they're only graded in the mid-70s. On the other side of the football, there's only one actual, believe it or not, we've only got one player that's been graded in the mid-70s. That's Khalil Mack. Everybody else is under 70. And you look at our offensive line, the insurance policy to protect Herbert from taking all these hits. Matt Feiler, 50. You know, Corey Linsley, under 70. Soldier, he's obviously had to step in the absence of Rashawn Slay. You can expect him to be around the 60 to 80 mark. He's currently at 69.5. Trey Pipkins has been awful, 55.1. He's done a job when it needs to be, but we've just
started off pretty strong.
Yeah. We've just got, we've got lots of alarm bells everywhere. And when even when your elite players are only playing or being graded at an average mark, it kind of tells a story. I mean, Herbert, for the most part of the season, has been playing lights out, scrambling, making plays. And I think we're going to see more and more of this going forward.
I'll just be 1 second. Sorry, Ross.
We're going to go to an advert. We're going to go to an advert. Hey, Bolt fam. DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL. It's my go-to when betting on the NFL this season. You get same-game parlays, easy and fast payouts, player prop options. What more do you want? Right now, new customers can bet $5 on any NFL team to win their game and get $150 in free bets if they do. Check this out. Right now, everyone can earn up to 100% boost with DraftKings stepped up same-game parlays. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, place a same-game parlay, and combine multiple bets like which team will win, player props, points totals, and more. The more legs you add, the bigger the boost, the bigger your shot to win big. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code TPPN. Place a $5 bet on any NFL team to win the game and get $150 in free bets if they do. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code TPPN. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Welcome back to the Charge Up Bolts podcast. You're joined by myself, John Woods Jr. and Dan King. We have been talking number 17, Philip Rivers, on week 15, just around the corner. We're facing another 17 a veteran of the game, Ryan Tannehill, and the 7-6 Titans, currently seeded 4th in the AFC playoff hunt. Titans are a very interesting team, Dan, in the fact that they've got some quality players. They haven't lived up to expectations. And they, like the Chargers, can find ways to lose. Coming off against an awful 36-22 defeat to Jacksonville last weekend. Big question this weekend is, can we stop Ryan Tannehill? And more importantly, can we stop Derrick Henry from running a ton of yards against our 25th ranked rushing DVOA defense?
I think we could stop Tannehill, hopefully. I don't have much faith that we can stop Derrick Henry once he gets going. But we just have to keep the ball. And then maybe we'll be okay. But you say the Titans are interesting. They really are, because they're coming off not just a loss to the Jags. They're on a 3-game losing streak. And they're just hanging on to first in their division. So you got to think they're going to be playing tough. They're going to be playing mad. And hopefully they play with too much emotion and not enough brain. And that leads to some gaps, some spots we can exploit. Because I don't see us in just put us up against the Titans the way we've been playing. I don't see us winning. But I am hopeful. Whereas this time last week, a little less hope.
Well, we'll come on to the predictions later on in the show. But I think for many of us Chargers fans on this side of the pond, Tennessee, Los Angeles Chargers will always be what's the word I'm looking for? A fond matchup because of obviously the game at Wembley Stadium,
yep.
which was amazing. And if you think back to that one, Chargers' first possession, Phil Rivers launched that 72-yard bomb down to Tyrell Williams, and then the game. Did we not stop? I think the Titans were on a 4th and 1 right at the end of the game, and we managed to stop them. It was amazing.
That was right in front of me as well. I was with I was sat behind Dan Feeney. I was sat behind Dan Feeney's family. And I forget who was it. It was a defensive back who then went on to the Patriots, and I'm blanking on his name, made the crucial breakup on the 4th down as it was thrown into our end zone.
Yeah, my mind's gone blank now because all I can keep thinking about is that Philip Rivers touchdown to Tyrell Williams, and me being disappointed.
That same sideline. It was a good side to pick to sit on.
Yeah, we were where I was sat. There was a few Titans fans, a few Chargers fans. I think I was 2 seats from the very back of the stadium, so I had what you call a slightly elevated. It's a tactical view. Game. Yeah, but that's that. I can still see that ball now traveling downfield at Big Phil with his unconventional throw. So yeah, Tennessee Chargers always going to have fond memories for many of us. Let's hope the Chargers are heading back to London in the next year or so. But getting back to this weekend's game, another must win, but for both teams. Mike Vrabel's had his challenges this season on and off the field. He'll be well aware that the Chargers are giving up sacks and that the pressure can be had.
Adrian Phillips,
that's the Badger.
Got there.
We got there in the end. I actually liked Adrian Phillips for what it's worth.
Yeah, me too.
But the Chargers now are in a position where if we keep winning, we'll claw our way back into a position and a seat at January football. It's whether or not we can hold Derrick Henry. I think there's only Josh Jacobs who's rushed for more yards than Henry. Whether or not we can limit Hooper's opportunities. The tight end has been playing well there under Tannehill's offense. But the big thing is are we going to be able to keep our key players on the field without getting injured? Now, before we're recording this on a Saturday morning, which is actually not bad because we've got the live sort of injury report. as it stands, Bryce Callahan is questionable. Derwin James looks like he's out. Didn't practice all week. That quadricep's going to keep him out. Zion Johnson did participate in full practice Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Sebastian Joseph Day, limited. I don't think we're going to see him. I don't think we're going to see Trey Pipkins, although he did participate in full practice. Jamari Sawyer, he looks like he's set to play. And Mike Dubb, coming off a bit of an ankle injury, looks set to play as well. Where on the actual opposition, the Titans have got a whole host of injuries, including Ryan Tannehill, who was limited Wednesday, but Thursday, Friday, he was good to go. So it's going to be interesting to see who isn't fit for Titans. They've got 7 players out, including CJ Board, Traylon Burks.
Yeah, Traylon Burks has been ruled out with the concussion protocol.
Yeah.
So he's definitely out for this
Amani
week.
Hooker at safety's out. Dontrell Williams, running back, he's out. So, the Titans will be sat here today in a similar vein of mind as the Chargers. Can our depth show up? Can we keep momentum? Can we eradicate the fumbles and the drop passes and just keep it clean? And I think that's what this game's going to boil down to ultimately, down to whoever makes the least mistakes on the field. But there's the same old elephant in the room, and that's our third quarter performances. Can we try and get double digits in the third quarter? It would be great if we could.
It'd be nice, even if it wasn't double digits, but we just scored twice. Like maybe 2 field goals. I'd be over the moon with that.
Well, yeah, I mean, field goals, special teams have been great again.
Yeah,
it's just
you really have to question the coaching when it comes to the third quarter. I'll always think, well, it's other teams are making adjustments and we're not. It's always how I'll see it. I won't ever put that down to Herbert regressing in the third quarter, because he's going out there and doing what he's been told to do. And he's doing it well. It's just what he's being told to do is madness.
Yeah, and it is. And I think we've just got to hope and pray. It is literally a quarter-to-quarter season now, not even game to game, because we have got an ability to start off really fast. And I just wonder what the Chargers coaching staff are doing to address this third quarter issue. They might just be blowing it off and say it's one of those things we can get by. But I think from an anxiety level, that the fans are, are in sort of counselling now for these second half performances. The last thing we want is Derrick Henry to find his mojo in the third or fourth quarter, and then we're unable to respond because we've let the game slip away, and trying to avoid those 3 and outs that we had in previous weeks. So yeah, I still believe Herbert to Hallen, Herbert to Mike Dubb. Let Austin Eckler do his things as a hybrid back, and I think that's where we can leverage our strengths on offense. On defense, it's just about players stepping up and making individual plays, as we've seen. Mike Davis, Drew Tranquill. We need to see a bit more from Khalil Mack, which is very difficult when your partner in crime is out on the sidelines, and we're not seeing anything from.
At least he was on the sidelines.
Well, yeah, but
we know he's there.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see him this season. Do you?
No, I think at this point, if we make the playoffs, we might.
Yeah,
but because I think were we to make the playoffs, I think Joey Bosa would be very much saying, "Hey, I'm fine. Put me in." Because I think he would see that as a responsibility to be there, even if he's got like a lingering niggle or something there. I think we'd see Bosa, but that's a big if.
Well, we're going to need everyone to tackle like Bosa on Sunday, because if it's anything,
everyone's to tackle like Derwin James, everyone's to tackle like Bosa.
Well, if it's anything like the 49ers game where we loaded the box, 6-man front, that's what may be needed again against Derek
I don't know that we've got a 6-man front anymore.
We'll have to find 6 man from somewhere. I don't know how
We
they're
just
going
put
to do
6
it.
guys there.
Yeah,
It's fine.
Can our tight ends play defensive linemen?
Yeah. Trey McKitty's good at blocking, right? Maybe he's good at tackling.
Yeah, Austin Eckler's good at blocking as well. Let's just Austin, you just play for the full 60 minutes, dude.
Speaking of Eckler, did you see the video that got put out by the Chargers social media team about Austin Eckler for the Pro Bowl? Talking about how big NFL don't want Austin there.
Yep.
Very clever. It was good stuff. It was good stuff.
It's very clever. Do you know, I think across sports, there whether it's soccer, baseball, basketball, hockey, football, I think they're the perceived sort of fashionable teams, and those that are deemed not so fashionable. You could argue that the Chargers weren't so fashionable when we played at the StubHub and we had like 3,000 fans there. But I don't think that the wider football community can ignore that the Chargers are not elevated. Not the fact that we've just got a shiny new stadium, we've got lots and lots and lots of season ticket holders, but the fact that we've got an outstanding,
we've definitely got some highlight players.
Quarterback. Yeah, we have. And it would be a shame to see Austin Heckler not make the Pro Bowl. It's a small consolation. I mean, I don't know inside the NFL community amongst the pros. I really don't know what they think of the Pro Bowl.
I voted for him.
Yeah, I don't know what their thoughts are. Whether it's just so what? If I get it, I get it. Because years ago it was very prestigious. If you remember around 2013, 2014, there's a lot of negative comments on social media when the game was played in Hawaii. This is boring, etc.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's an exhibition game. But
the stuff I love is I love seeing like the showcase. Like, it's the quarterback skills challenge. I love watching that stuff, and it's always nicer when you've got like, that's my guy. He's out there. He's doing that. And I'd like to think that the players enjoy those things as well, like the catch challenges, the dummy tackle drills, just to show off. Hey, look, I'm going to do some one-handed catches on the sideline, and I think Austin Eckler deserves to go for sure. It'll be good to see him go. Oh yeah,
he's outstanding, and
he may not have the most rushing yards, he may not have the most receiving yards, but together, he's been an absolutely electric player this year. Once he got going in like week 4, then he's been fairly consistent since then.
I think what we've learned from this season is, how do you judge how good a player is? You judge him when he's not there. So when we've lost Joey Bosa, we've lost Corey Linsley, when we had a walking wounded Justin Herbert, you actually realise how good that player is. Now, had we not had Austin Eckler for any of these games, I think we'd seen an even weaker running game. Again, highlighting how important he is.
You kind of see it with even with Josh Kelly. When Joshua Kelly's come back in the last week or so, he looked good, and it's made a difference having him there. And you're just like, yeah, God, can you remember when we were playing Sony Michel?
Yeah,
it's like that was less than ideal. But Joshua Kelly is, to his credit, come back and run hard. And then you've got like who else? Keenan Allen. Just touch on Keenan Allen again. He's come back and he already has just shy. He's on 400 yards. The top Titans receiver this year, Robert Woods, 406.
Yeah,
and it's just like, this guy's a difference maker. Like, you saw how hyped up he was when he got that touchdown a couple of weeks ago to pull us closer to the Raiders. But yeah, it's great having these highlight players back. It's just a shame we don't have all of them back.
Yeah, I mean, Robert Woods is an interesting one, because I don't think the Titans have seen the best of him.
No, and whether that's on the Titans and the fact that they've got Ryan Tannehill as quarterback, I don't know. I appreciate Ryan Tannehill, but I I think I appreciate him fairly, as he's not one of the elite. He's not one of the top guys, but he's serviceable. He's there. He does what's needed, and let's be honest, the team runs through Derrick Henry. So
yeah,
he's the bigger sticking point there.
I mean, between 2018 and 2020, Robert Woods, he averaged over 1,000 snaps, and then in 2021, that dropped off to under 600, and he's only had about 589 snaps this season. So, in terms of productivity, he has tailed off.
Their top receiver, Robert Woods, is 76th in receiving yards.
Yeah,
which is wild that a team's top receiver is 76th when there are only 32 teams.
I mean, he was drafted the same year as Keenan, I believe, wasn't he? 2013.
I think so, yeah.
Second round pick. But yeah, again, we talk about these players that have been disappointed throughout the season, and all of a sudden they turn up with a 100-yard game. So
against us.
we need to avoid doing that.
So Robert Woods is going to go for 200 yards against us.
Derrick Henry 240 yards on the ground. Chargers are going to get blown up 50-zip. That's not happening. No. Dan, I've got a good feeling about this game. I'm completely different mindset to what I was last week, and it just goes to show you how a good win against Miami sort of lifts the mood, and the fact that we've seen Justin Herbert and Mike Williams and Keenan Allen looking like their old selves. Predictions, come on.
I think whatever happens, it'll be close. We always play teams close, regardless of how good they are or how bad they are. We will play every game to within a score. I think the Titans will be playing hard. I think where is this game? Are we at home or are we in Tennessee?
Tennessee.
Yep. We're at home.
Sorry,
we're at home versus Tennessee. Yes.
I missed the question. What did you say?
Where are we? Are we at home or away? But we're at home. So we're at home. I think that being at home is going to give us the edge there. And I think call it 23-17.
Ooh, well, I'm going what, to Chargers?
Wait, that's the score we beat the Dolphins by. Let's change it 23-20 Chargers.
All right, okay. That's interesting because I've already, before we came on air, I'd already written down 24-21 Chargers.
Very similar then. But yeah, I think
bold prediction. I've got a bold prediction.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Chargers score all their points in the second half.
That is bold prediction. I like it.
that is bolder than my head, by the way.
I wonder when was the last time? Let's go. Okay, Chargers have a running back go over 50 yards because that's not happened for a while.
Oh, that's two bold predictions.
That's only happened 3 times this year. Eckler had 173 against the Browns, 60 against the Texans, and 83 against the Chiefs. That's it.
This could be the year that the Chargers win the Super Bowl without a running game.
Any year could be. What do you mean? We got Joshua Kelly back. It's fine. Charged up Bolt's favorite, Joshua Kelly.
Spiller, what's happening?
I don't know. He's there. There's got to be something going on there, whether it's just adapting to the NFL level or picking up the playbook, learning blocking schemes. We know that it's very, very high on blocking. Every coach is very high on blocking, though. So, but I don't know. It'll be good to see. Be good to see what another coach does.
Yeah, because
I think we are heading in that direction.
This is an interesting game because if we lose this, you're gonna have to put a fork in the season, unfortunately.
I mean, if we lose this, we've got the Colts and the Rams and the Broncos, 3 very winnable games.
But in that same time, we're then looking at a situation where
it's then out of our hands.
7 seeds no longer in our grasp. So we just got to keep winning. And I think for the fan base as well. You mentioned it earlier. It seems like a long season. It does seem like a long season. So I think personally that we will go into this game and just go lights out for the win. Keep the season alive. And even if
it's at home, we've got to.
We did say at the start of the season, the minimum for this team, before the injuries and the shenanigans with JC Jackson after that late preseason ankle surgery, that the playoffs was the bare minimum for this team, and that nothing changes. Nothing changes. Let's hope that we can get to the playoffs. Let's hope that Joey Bosa comes back, but that all starts with the game against Tennessee. Put that one to bed. I'm comfortable that we can take the momentum into the next game and just see what happens. We're not going to win the division. It was always a long shot anyway. So the best we can hope for is a wild card spot. But it all starts again next week. And we're going to be sat here in midweek talking about it all starts again on Sunday because it's now playoff football, even though it's not playoff football.
Yep.
Dan, it's been good to chat as ever, buddy.
Oh, for sure. And it's going to be an interesting couple of months.
It is. And the good thing is it's the holiday season, which means that there's a bit less pressure on likes of you and I staying up to the wee hours of the morning, going to work with those matchsticks in. Christmas next week. Let's hope that Santa brings us 2 victories between now and then. That would be really nice, wouldn't it?
I don't know. We've only got one game between now and Christmas. That's the Titans. We play after Christmas.
We do.
Next week.
We do.
We play
having
Day night.
We do. Having Christmas on a Sunday, it really screws up the old body clock. That's Boxing Day football. For our US listeners, Boxing Day soccer in the UK is massive. Every club plays up and down all the leagues, but we've got real football on Boxing Day this year because the Chargers are playing. So, but before that, let's beat the Titans. Let's put Tennessee to bed. Move on to the next one. And then that playoff seat, that wild card seat at the table looks a little bit warmer because at the minute it's lukewarm. We need to be warm. We need to clinch it. We need to be sat down there, putting Justin Herbert on the field to play January football. That's really what we want. You've been listening to the Charged Up Bolts podcast. Where can we find you on socials, Dan?
So you can find me at UKLA Chargers. You can find the podcast on YouTube, on youtube.com/@charged-up-bolts.
Thank you very much. I'm at Endzone85. Thank you for putting it with my slightly stuffy nose. The flu's doing its rounds in the UK at the moment. Most people are off with a cough or a cold. Hence this delayed show. Enjoy the game Sunday, folks, and we'll be back in midweek to talk Titans and then on to the next one. Enjoy your weekend and bolt up.
Bolt up.
This is Rashawn Slater, first-round draft pick for the LA Chargers, and you're listening to the Charged Up Bolts podcast. Bolt up.